There are roads that don't appear on maps. There are lands that the locals call Wila, one word, BALWARTE, meaning holy land, but not of the gods. Of the devil, 1,980. An owner-type jeep rumbles down deserted stretch of road in Quezon province. It's getting dark, and gray clouds are covering the jungle. Narrator: Nolan and Remy, a young couple expecting their first child, just want to get home after a long trip from Camarines North. Little do they know that in just a few more kilometers, they will cross the final boundary between the human world and the world of soul eaters. Pang! The tire pops. The car skids to the side of the wet dirt road, the engine dies. Nolan quickly opened the door to look. Remy sat still, her hand unconsciously clutching her bag. Remy, whispering, "Dead, not here, not here." Narrator: Remy knows this land well. A friend told her, if the body oil in the bag starts to boil, run, don't ask. But this time, it wasn't just boiling, it was screaming. There are nightmares that don't come when you close your eyes, but when you're most awake. And when the sun sets in Quezon, not all shadows are created ila the moonlight. Remy turned to Nolan, eyes wide with fear, whispering, "Remy, hon, is there someone watching you from the woods?" Narrator, rushing, "Those aren't people who came to help them. Those are people who guard the land of the demons." Black screen. Red blood title appears. Mag-asawang napadpad yay BALWARTE ng ASAWANG. A couple lost in the Aswang territory. There are trips that start with joy but end with survival. There are vague premonitions that are sometimes the only thing that saves us from handing death. Cut to the car. Nolan is driving, eyes focused. Beside him is Remy, about 2 months pregnant, hand caressing her belly, eyes looking far away. The car plays soft bolero music. Remy softly, "It's almost dark, hon. How much further do we have?" Nolan, still not taking his eyes off the road. "About an hour. Don't worry. We'll be safe when we get to Antipolo." Close-up shot of Remy's bag. There's an amber bottle of oil nestled among dried garlic, salt, and a makabuhay branch. Dark memories, sowing warning seeds. Quick flashback, an afternoon before the trip. Remy is sitting with his friend Ara, drinking tea, looking worried. Ire, whispering, eyes hunted. "Remy, if you cross the Quezon forest, don't stop in the middle of the road. Never let it get dark there. I lost my sister in that area. They said it was an accident, but you know what? I heard her crying many nights after that." Ara hands over the bottle of oil. Ire continued, "Hold this. Wormwood oil. If it starts to boil, it means they're close." Cut back to the present. Remy's face briefly recalls, hand unconsciously reaching for his pocket. Incident, the fatal bus. Shot continues. The bus passes steep section of road. It starts to drizzle. The forest on both sides is dense. No one is in sight. The phone signal is lost. Nolan. Strange, the signal is lost. Remy. This place, it feels so cold. Suddenly, bang. Loud bang. Car shakes violently. Nolan brakes hard. Side mirror falls off. They stop in the middle of a deserted dirt road. No houses, no other cars. Nolan gets out, frowning. Must be the rear tire. Yee, that's really bad luck. Yee from the bushes, as if someone is watching. Remy looks around, hands gripping the side of the car. The wind starts to whistle. The birds in the woods fall silent. Tense atmosphere, first sign. Remy bends down to open her bag with trembling hands. She pulls out the oil bottle. She sees bubbles rising inside, slight but obvious. Remy whispers, eyes wide. No way, it's starting to boil. Remy raises her voice, calls. Han! Stop! Something's wrong. The oil is boiling. It's real. Nolan, still busy changing the tire, irritated. It's just the temperature. It's raining, damp, don't let superstitions get to you. Remy, tense, crying. I feel like someone's watching me. In the woods, Camera pans quickly to a bush a few meters away. A branch falls, no wing. Small, heavy, dragging footsteps. Presence in the dark. Remy stares into the darkness of the woods. Eyes wide. A figure or creature stands still, just barely visible. The oil in the bottle boils violently, making a sizzling sound like hot blood. The wind turns to a soft hiss, like breathing close to the ear. Narrator, deep, decisive. That's not a normal car breakdown. It's a final warning before the Aswang lands open their doors to them. The strange woman appears, the first warning. It is dusk. While Nolan is still bent over fixing the car, in the distance, an elderly woman appears from behind a bush, standing motionless. Her clothes are old, her eyes are bright in the twilight. She is Aling Martha. Aling Martha, voice hoarse, slightly choked. Huwag kayong gagalaw. Don't move. You two shouldn't be here. This is Balwarte ng mga aswang. Remy jerks, her hand gripping the boiling oil bottle. She backs up against the car, shouting for Nolan. Nolan stands up, blocking his wife's way. Nolan, tense, hand touching the gun at her hip. Who are you? What do you want? Aling Martha, in a low voice, not angry. I came to rescue you. If it gets dark and you're still here, there's no chance. An invitation to help, but the oil is still boiling. Aling Martha moves closer. Remy holds the bottle of oil toward her. The oil boils more violently. Remy's face turns pale. Remy, in trembling voice. It boils more violently as you get closer. Nolan, angry, shouting. Back off. Who are you really? Martha stops. She takes a bunch of dried garlic from her cloth bag, a piece of coarsely woven makabuhay, and places it gently on the ground. Aling Martha. I used to be like you. I used to have a family. But when our husband was killed them, I decided to stay, to help the lost ones. You can believe it or not. But when the howling starts, there's no time to doubt. A distant howl begins to sound, like the wind tearing through the forest, but with a regular, nuance-like call. The second person, the unmasker. From another bush, an old, thin man with cloudy eyes, high cheekbones appears. It is Mang Pablo, his face is suspicious, wary. Mang Pablo, hissing softly. Huwag ninyong trust her. Whoever follows her will never return. She lives with the aswang. She is bait. A goat led into the tiger's den. Remy, shocked. But she carries charm, she helps us. Pablo, smirking. She helps, but who? We were once one. But I choose not to sell on my soul. Caught in a dilemma, no way out. Remy and Nolan turn to look at each other. Both are extremely confused. The oil is still boiling. The alleyway is getting dark. The sound of insects disappears. The whole forest begins to become strangely quiet. Nolan, heavy voice. We can't trust anyone. Remy, trembling voice. But if we don't go with someone, we'll die. I can't run anymore, I'm pregnant. Tension reaches a climax. Pablo raises his hand and points into the forest. Pablo, whispering. Tonight they'll hunt. And you have been chosen. Howling turns to panic. A long, painful, rolling howl echoes from deep in the forest. Then comes a chorus of howls, as if dozens of entities were singing at once. The trees begin to sway against the wind. A tall, dark shadow passes behind the tree trunk. Remy, screaming, panicking. It's coming. I saw it. Nolan pulls out his gun, spins 300 at 60 degrees, his eyes wild. Remy falls to his knees, clutching his stomach, sobbing. Aling Martha and Pablo both stand still, as if waiting for someone to decide. Decision to survive. Aling Martha, calmly. I can't drag you away if you don't want to live. But if you stay, you'll be the first dinner. Mang Pablo laughs bitterly. Follow her. Let me see another couple disappear like smoke. Nolan grips his wife's hand. Slow motion, his eyes move from the old couple to the bottle of boiling oil in Remy's hand. A loud heartbeat echoes in the background. Nolan, whispering. We're going. But if she betrays me, I won't hesitate to use the last bullet. Aling Martha, nodding. Sometimes only fire can save a lost man. The three of them walk deeper into the forest. The camera pans from above, dozens of eyes are watching them from the treetops. When the sun sets, the forest is no longer a forest. The trees are no longer trees. Nothing here remains the same. For this is the land of shapeshifters. And hunts yield the scent of fear. The Aswang appears, the terrifying truth. The camera pans to a high branch, something has slithered across, leaving claw marks in the bark. The surrounding trees begin to move without the wind. A high-pitched scream rings out, quickly drowned out by others, deeper, wetter. Remy, whispering, gasping. I can't breathe. Nolan, squeezing his wife's hand. Hold on, we're almost there. Aling Martha, hoarsely. Don't stop. Don't let your emotions show. They smell desperation. Remy takes a few steps back. Her hand accidentally touches the base of a tree. A strange hand slithers out from the trunk, gun and black cloud. She screams. Narrator. They don't come like wolves but like part of this forest. Something between a forest demon and a scavenger, eyeless but still sees. No nose but smells blood and fear. The hideout, the abandoned house in the woods. Aling Martha leads them into a dilapidated, moss-covered wooden cabin, hidden between two trees as large as the gates of hell. Inside are totems, charms, dead roots, and a garland of thorny vines that surrounds the wooden floor. Aling Martha. This was in my home. Before it became something that wasn't human. Nolan, worry. You were an aswang. Aling Martha, silent for a moment, then nodding slightly. But I remember I'm human. And I choose to stand in that line. No one has ever survived without learning how to fight. Remai puts the bottle of oil on the table. It is still boiling slightly. She takes out the salt, the garlic, and the makabuhay from her bag, place them around the bed. Martha adds a thorny vine, warning. Aling Martha. They won't dare pass this for the next few hours. Internal tension when the survival instinct kicks in. During the break, Remai begins to breathe heavily, her stomach tightening. She is tired, panicking. Nolan holds her hand, but his eyes are also starting to doubt. Nolan, lowering his voice. If she is really an aswang, she might be feeding us as live prey. Remy sobs. I don't know, we should run while we can. Aling Martha, looking off, not turning around. You can't run, this forest breathes. It changes its paths every night. Nolan looks down at the gun. Remai looks at the oil bottle. They've both lost faith in each other and Martha. The air is suffocating. Narrator. In a fight for survival, the first thing that goes is not food. It's faith. Blood call, the charm weakens. Outside the house, the trees shake as if being beaten, even though there is no wind. A screech like metal rubbing against metal comes from outside. The oil in the bottle turns dark and boils. A small trail of blood flows from the crack in the door. Aling Martha, urgently. The protection is weakening. They know there is a pregnant woman. Your blood is the best for them. Remai screams, clutching her stomach. Nolan roars, pointing his gun at the door. Nolan, shouting. If you come in here, I will blow you all up. Outside the door, a voice imitating child's voice speaks. Aswang, innocent voice. Mama, buksan mo ang pinto, malamig dito sa labas. Remai shivers. Martha pulls her away from the door. Aling Martha, in a low voice. Don't trust any voice tonight. They don't have to be real, they just have to be on the right emotional frequency. The night is not over. As the protective circle completely dissolves, an aswang figure taller than a normal person, a human body but distorted face, long arms almost touching the ground, a mouth full of teeth, begins to appear at the door. Nolan raises his gun. Remy grabs Martha's hand. And the scene cuts to the door being flung open. Narrator, in a rushed voice. There are nights longer than death. And there are fears that don't come from outside, but from the person standing next to you. Suspicion grows, instinct warns of something wrong. Shot opens, deep night, the log cabin shakes slightly to the howling of the forest. Nolan has fallen asleep from exhaustion. Remai sits alone, Ila the oil bottle, the fire extinguished, but her eyes are still fixed on the figure of Aling Martha, whispering to herself in front of an ancient drawing on the wall. Narrator, whispering. In a place without light, one can no longer distinguish friend from foe. Any word of help may be a trap prepared with false mercy. Remy steps closer. She hears Martha's voice chanting in an ancient language, like a prayer, but not in Tagalog. In her hand, a piece of dry skin, painted with symbols that look like demon eyes. The darkness opens its mouth. Martha is not quite human. Remai jerks back, making the wooden floor creak. Martha turns around. Her eyes in the darkness reflect the light like a cat's. Aling Martha, low voice, not angry. You saw it, right? Then I don't need to hide it anymore. Remy steps back, her hand tightening on the oil bottle. She asks in trembling voice, Remy, what are you? Are you one of them? Aling Martha, I was once human. Like you. And like you. I believed I could escape in my fate. But this force devours the soul. Pablo appears, the truth of betrayal revealed. The sound of wood breaking behind the hut. Pablo steps out of the darkness, his eyes sunken, his face like an unburied corpse. There is an old cut on his neck, a sign of having been bitten but survived. Pablo smirking. She didn't tell you everything. She betrayed the pact to save another couple. 9 years ago. And they were eaten that night. Remai is stunned. Martha is silent, her hands clenched, her eyes closed. Remy, voice choked. You killed them? Aling Martha, looking straight at Remai, eyes teary. I didn't kill. I tried to save. But I took them into the woods. And I wasn't strong enough to fight them all. Since then, I stayed. I learned how to trick them, how to keep people alive as long as possible. If I don't do it, then who will? Survival choice, trust the demon or fight alone. The air is thick. The wine house like a whale. Outside, the shadows circle again. But this time, no one attacks. They wait. Pablo, in a low voice. You know, Remy, if you let Martha take you on, you'll be the third one. Maybe she'll rely to save you again. Maybe this time you'll die like the other two. Remy, gasping, looking over at Nolan who is sleeping. I can't leave my husband. I can't go alone. I can't trust Nolan's life to something I don't understand. Slow motion, her hands tremble as she places the knife, gun, and magic oil. She turns to Martha, her face is both terrifying and pained. Aling Martha, softly. Choose, Remai. You can fight on your own, carrying those charms. Or you can come with me to the river where they can't get in. But if you don't choose soon, they will choose for you. Decision of life and death. Remy stands still for a few seconds. The Aswang's footsteps begin to approach. A door in the hut begins to fall apart. Nolan wakes up, sees the scene, grabs his gun. Nolan, panicked. What's going on? Who's the bad guy? Remy turns to her husband, shouting a final command. Remy. Wake ligi. Ik have die ruin. And she doesn't answer the question. She doesn't choose Martha. She doesn't choose Pablo. She chooses survival via instinct. Step past the two old men, Remai pulls Nolan in the opposite direction, deep, dark woods, where nothing is certain but darkness. Narrator, deep voice. Not everyone survives because they choose right. Some people live only because they dare to choose. And there are decisions that only dawn can answer. There are moments even prayer fails. When darkness swallows the last light, only survival instinct remains. The door is torn open. A giant aswang, nearly 2 meters tall, humanoid in body but deformed in bones, charges straight into the hut. Nolan shoots. Remai screams. Martha pulls the last bottle of oil from her torn pocket. The ultimate sacrifice, sacred fire against demons. Mang Pablo appears from behind the hut, eyes blazing, claws as sharp as knives. Pablo, screaming, addressing Martha. You cannot save them. No one escapes this bulwark. Martha looks at Nolan, Remay, the eyes of a mother sending her child away for the last time. She throws the oil bottle on the ground, the fire flares up. She drags Pablo into the sea of fire. The two half-human, half-demon creatures burn to death, forming a sacred ring of fire shining brightly in the dark night. Aling Martha, screaming in the fire. Ye river. They cannot cross there. Remy screams, Nolan pulls her up. But she falls, blood stains her pants. Deep scratch on her thigh. She weakens. They run amid the chasing demons. Nolan carries Remay on his back, gun in hand, feet stepping on dry branches, mud. Aswang scream and chase. Dark shadows crawl along the ground, gliding like werewolves, following every step. Narrator, urgent, urgent. No one chases to scare them. They chase to tear them apart. But sometimes love is the only thing faster than death. Nolan carries Remy over tree roots, dodging claws that tear at the nape of her neck. An Aswang charges, Remy raises the last packet of salted garlic and throws it at its face, making it howl and retreat. Remy, screaming weakly. The riverbank. I see it. Hunt faster. The boundary between life and death. Finally, they dash out of the forest. Ahead is a river as black as a mirror, the moonlight faintly reflected. Nolan collapses at the water's edge, both of them waist deep in the river. The Aswang stands on the other side, screaming madly but not daring to step into the water. Narrator. Water. The final frontier that the Aswang cannot cross. But for humans this is a return. A door to survival paid for in blood. Remy lies exhausted on Nolan's shoulder. He holds her tight. From a distance, a flashlight flashes. A group of villagers fishing discovers them. The first real voice after a long night. The oil has cooled, the story is not believed yet. Cut to the next morning. Both are bandaged, taken to a small medical station in the village. Nolan tells the story but only receives a look of half-belief, half-pity. Villager softly. It must have been panic or some wandering ghost. Narrator. No one believes them. No one believes in Martha, or Balwarte, or the humanoid ghosts who disguise themselves as old people. But in the midst of it all, there is only one thing left. The camera zooms in on the bottle of oil, now completely cool, sitting on the table, in the morning light. Inside, there are still a few small bubbles floating, as if whispering something. Narrator, in a low, decisive voice. They escaped the forest. But the forest never really left them. And if one day you cross QUEZON, and see an abandoned car in the middle of the forest, don't stop. Don't let the darkness know you're listening.